Good afternoon, Newton County, Georgia. Welcome to Canvas Training. I'm your learning specialist from Canvas Instructure. I'm glad to be with you today. Today's topic is about Mastery Pass, and this is your advanced session for Canvas Training today and your last session. So welcome to everybody. Glad to be with you. Thank you for answering the poll. Those of you who have already done so, I appreciate that. So it's nice to see that brand new, basically, to everybody. So we're going to talk about Mastery Pass and why they're pretty awesome. Now, a little bit about some housekeeping items. I do invite you to log into your instance of Canvas. Okay, so there are going to be some hands-on activities, and like anything, we really learn by doing, right? Especially Mastery Pass, all right? So I do encourage you to go ahead, log into your instance of Canvas, get into a Canvas course. If it's a sandbox, great. If it's an old course, that's fine too. Now, inside, let me come forward a couple of screens. If you are brand new to Newton County, there's your login screen. You would just go to ClassLink, and then Canvas is where you would log in there and go to a sandbox course, okay? You don't have to have students in this to build a Mastery Path. It will work without students in it. You can view it inside of Student View, actually. So, in which we are going to do. So while you're doing that, I'm going to talk just a little bit about me, 20 years as a K-5 educator, past 5 of those as an ed tech. I live in Greenville, South Carolina. So I am not too far away from you. If we were not in COVID, I probably would have been on site all day doing this, all the sessions actually. Now, my grad degree is from the University of South Carolina, Gamecocks, and technology and curriculum design. And as you all know, Greenville is right here in the Appalachian Mountains. So we're neighbors. I'm excited to be training you. All right. I also grew up in Georgia, by the way. I grew up in Statesboro, Georgia. So I'm a native of Bullitt County. All right. Couple things. If you just want to watch today, perfectly fine. All right. This is being recorded. So if you want to circle back around with the video, stop me, take your time, start it back up again. Great. If you are a level 2 and 3, I will be pausing for hands-on activities, and I'll be launching polls to see how much time you need to complete the activities. Okay, so the poll is not to rush you, it's just as a gauge. Since I'm not there with you, I can't tell how fast or how slow I need to go, all right? So answering that poll is going to help me out. Now, speaking of polls, I'm going to end this one. And hopefully by now we have logged in. All right, the way this is going to go is I'm going to show it to you, demonstrate how to create it, and give you that time to create it. All right, let's get going. Mastery Paths. All right. Mastery Paths are exactly what it sounds like. All right. A Mastery Path is a way to give student choice. Number one, it's great for project-based learning. It is also great if you are looking at exceeding expectations, meeting expectations, below expectations, okay? So this is all based on one assignment assessment, all right? So you're giving either student choice, or you're actually putting students on a path for enrichment, on track, or remediation. So that's what a Mastery Path is for. Now, like I just said, Mastery Path is for personalized learning. based on student performance or choices, all right? So if you need, I just told you I came from the elementary level. I did mastery paths as Fun Friday. It wasn't fun. I was benchmarking, but students didn't know that. They figured out that if they did really well on the quiz, they got more choices. So then I started teaching test taking skills, right? And they took that quiz, that source assignment very seriously because they wanted the fun stuff, okay? Now, so that goes into the ownership of this, and we're going to talk about the grade book as we go, all right? There's some caveats with that. All right, now, so I have my little illustration here. This is the way, most Canvas assignments are. There, you create them, you put in great directions, and you send them off to your student, and your students complete them, right? Pretty simple. Not much to it. Now, when you create a mastery path, lots of moving pieces, all right? This is the airplane we're dealing with when we're building a mastery path. So definitely this is why this is an advanced session, because you're putting all of your Canvas knowledge together to create something really awesome for your students, all right? So you're putting everything together inside of Canvas to create this. Now, the benefits of mastery paths. First, enrichment, all right? Students who score highest, they can take that different path, doing alternate assignments, this PBL, some student choice. Remediation, all right? If you have students who need review, this gives them a way to circle back to those important elements on that path, and then perhaps complete a new version of that assessment so you can reassess their knowledge after that remedial path. It also gives some student choice, and if you allow it, and we're going to talk about that as well. All right, so I'm about to give you a vocabulary sheet, all right? And this is not to bamboozle you, all right? This is just to give you some information. Oh, I see that in chat. Sorry, I just opened up chat and it got hidden by a window. Your family's from Greer? That is so funny because when I first started teaching here in Greenville, I taught at Chandler Creek Elementary, if you know that name. So I'm going to give you some vocabulary, all right? So here comes your vocabulary sheet inside of chat right now. Let me grab it for you. Here we go. All right, so if you open that up inside of Drive, it is just a simple document, all right? So let's talk about our terms, all right? So we have a source assignment, and the source assignment or assessment is that one that all students take it, and based on that score, they are placed on a path. So the source assignment is the first thing that you have to have. Then we have the configuration page. All this is, and I'm going to show all this to you, it's where you take the items in the module and you say, okay, I want, based on their score, I want students to do this item or that item. You're configuring the paths on the configuration page based on the score. The conditional rules, This is how it gets released. On what condition do these assignments get released? All right. And the item is just what gets released. All right. So do not let this vocabulary get in the way. All right. It's going to become very clear as we go through. I promise. All right. But just so you are aware, all right, of what this is. Now, I'm going to show you an example of a mastery path. Here it is. All right. So I am inside of your instance. I have built this out. This is built off of the water cycle. All right. Very, very important that you build in modules. Mastery paths are always built inside of a module. All right. So you can see I've got my source assignment. Here's my quiz. Path 1, path 2, and I could make a path 3 if I wanted to. So you can see everything is inside of a module. All right. It must be one module. It can't be 2 modules, 3 modules. It must be inside of one module. Okay. So that's kind of like a drop dead rule. You're going to go, if you go into Canvas community and start looking at mastery paths in the chat boards, you are going to find educators that swear up and down that it works if you put it in multiple modules. Don't do it. All right. It's got to be in one module. All right. So now you can see that I have all of these choices in here for this module. Now, so this is just an example of what it looks like on the instructor side. If I go inside of student view, okay, I haven't edited it yet. I have to come back and do this. All right, but they will only see the test. All right, so we're going to edit this together. Now, first thing to get mastery paths to work, all right, you have to turn it on inside of your course. So what I need for you to do is I want everybody to go into settings inside of your course. Once you go in settings on course navigation, you have to go into feature preview. And then you have to turn mastery paths on. All right. By default, it's going to be off. You have to turn this on to get mastery paths to work. So if it is a red X, all right, like that, you're going to click on it and you're going to enable it and turn it to a green check. All right. One more time, settings, feature previews, mastery paths. All right. That is our first hands-on activity. I'm going to launch a poll. Let me know when you get done with that. All right, I see 11 of us are ready to move on. All right, we're going to keep on going. Now, I'm going to come on back to my modules. All right. Now, the first thing, like I said, we need to build a module with everything in it. Okay. So the module, by the way, can, when you're doing this for your classroom, this can be based on unit, topic, chapter, content type, whatever, however you design a module, very flexible, right? Assignments, discussions, quizzes, pages, etc. But to start a mastery path out, you have to have a quiz, all right? So I'm going to come into this pretest to show you what it looks like, all right? So here's my water cycle pretest. It's just simple questions in here. And I think there's 10 questions, right? Now, very important, the quiz must be assigned to everyone, all right? You are going to see where you can assign it to Mastery Pass. No, you want to assign the quiz to everyone, all right? And you can set a due date, all right? You can like set today or tomorrow for the due date, whatever you want to do, all right? So that's step one, all right? Creating a quiz, and it doesn't have to be a complicated quiz, however you want to create it, all right? Maybe a 10-point quiz, maybe you want to have 2 questions in it, 5 points apiece to make the math easy, all right? Just making sure that we assign to everyone, and then we come over to questions, just make those questions, all right? And then when you come into this quiz, you should be seeing Mastery Pass as an option, all right? And after you get done, you're going to hit save, all right? So one more time, to start a Mastery Path, we do need to create a module. And in that module, we need to make a source assignment, okay? Typically, it's a quiz to kick it off. All right, again, assign that quiz to everyone, not to Mastery Pass, all right? So that's the first thing I want you to be able to do, all right, to get our Mastery Pass started. This is the assessment that puts everybody on that path, all right? And this might take a minute or two, all right, to create the quiz, do two questions, tops, make them 5 points apiece, save it, and be done, all right? So go ahead, make a module, go ahead and put that quiz in there. Make sure that you're assigning to everyone, add 2 simple questions. All right, now this does need to be a fresh module with nothing else in it. Any questions, please let me know. Just checking in, no rush. For those of you still creating that quiz, take your time. Any questions, please let me know. Just a reminder what we're doing. We are creating that source assignment in a module by itself. 2 simple questions in that quiz. Make sure it's assigned to everyone and hit save. All right, now, once you get that first quiz in the module, this is when you're going to start building the pathways, all right? So you can see that I have a couple of text headers in here, path 1, path 2, all right? So all these are text headers, and this is the way I have to organize it, all right? So the students don't see this view. I am building this for organization, all right? So if I wanted to add a path 3, I would just come up here to the top of my module, hit the plus, come, add a text header. I could add a path 3 and add that, all right? So there's my third pathway. And I can have up to 3 pathways, no more than. I can have 2 or 3, all right? You haven't got to use all 3. Now, once I have path 1, 2, and 3 in here, I am actually not going to publish the text headers. So why? The reason I'm not going to publish the text headers is I don't want students to know, I don't want them to have a label, all right? So they're not going to see what path they're on when they take the source assignment. Now, under each pathway, I'm going to plan it, all right? Now, a pathway can be any content, all right? It can be an assignment, a discussion, a page. So here I have an assignment. And it just has basic directions in here and how they're submitting, all right? Now, the one thing I do have to be careful of, notice it's assigned to everyone. I have to change this inside of assignments. The quiz we just made goes to assignments, goes to everyone, but assignments does not, all right? Assignments has to be assigned to mastery paths. If you don't, mastery paths won't work, all right? So I'm going to come up here and hit edit. And right down here where it says assign to everyone, I'm going to get rid of that and I'm going to choose mastery paths, okay? So on the assignments, it must be assigned to mastery paths, not to everyone, not to certain students, mastery paths. This is the #1 way mastery paths get messed up, okay? Because, you know, the differentiation is going to happen, but not by putting student names in here. It has to say that, all right? So I'm gonna come here and hit save, all right? Now when I hit save, it's gonna say, hey, not all sections are being assigned this. Would you like to go back and include your course name? No, I don't. I want to hit continue, and I want to assign that to Mastery Paths. All right, so you are going to get that warning. So I am going to come back to modules, and I'm going to say, well, before I go through all that, I need to plan my path, right? So what do I want path 1 to be able to do? So let's say this is my exceeding expectations path. I am going to put all my assignments, all my pages, all my discussions that I want them to be able to do, all right? And I don't want to overload them. So what I might want to put in here is, I'm actually going to remove this. So I don't want them heat, gain, and loss in the water cycle. They're not going to do that. I'm going to hit my 3 dots and I'm going to remove it. I don't want it in there, okay? I also don't want this quiz in there. So I'm going to hit my 3 dots and remove that. All right. So what I'm left with is I have a discussion, a day in the life of a water droplet. All right. Which is they can create a skit. They can do a puppet show, whatever. And then I've got this Precipitation Towers Lego project, okay, with an assignment and a video upload. Now notice that this is a page, my Precipitation Towers Lego project. You can put a page inside a path, all right, even though it's not an assignment. How I do it is I come into the page, I hit edit, and at the very bottom of the page, I have a checkbox that says allow in Mastery Paths. And I must check that to put it in the Mastery Path, all right? Just like putting in an assignment, assigning to a Mastery Path, I also have to come into the page and check that box to allow in Mastery Path. Now it's set, all right? So I'm going to have to come through and say, all right, here's my discussion. I'm going to have to click on it, make sure, come up to hit edit. Get rid of everyone, put in Mastery Paths, and hit save. I'm going to get that warning and have to hit continue. I'm going to have to come back to modules. I've already done my page right here. I'm going to have to go to Precipitation Towers. I'm going to have to come into edit. Make sure I get rid of everyone, put Mastery Paths, and hit continue. All right, so I'm going to have to do this for every single assignment in the path. So I'm almost done with path 1. I have this content in it. So path 1 is done, all right? Now, I have path 2. What do I want my on-track students to be able to do? This is where I plan it, okay? So, they're on track. That's good. However, I might want them to have some practice, right? So I've got this water cycle presentation in here. I might leave it, all right? Cloud practice, we probably don't need. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to remove it. Water cycle practice, they're on track. Do they need to practice it? Probably not. I'm going to remove it. Now, water cycle and clouds assignment, okay. And then some practice. Maybe so. I might put the water cycle song up here. So I'm going to give them some choice with this. So I'm going to leave the presentation in there for reference. They can do this assignment or they can come and do the song. All right. That's correct. Question in chat is, since you have to assign to Mastery Pass, these items will not be able to sync to Grade Pass back. That is correct. So the way around that is you can actually duplicate the assignment or discussion and make it no submission. And then in the grade book, you can input the grade manually. So that's the workaround for it. Is it perfect? Nope. But you can manually input those grades. If you duplicate them, and they'll show up in your grade book, input the grades, and then it would sync. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm gonna get rid of that quiz too. I don't really want that in there. All right, so here's my path 2. I've got my presentation. I've got these 2 assignments, all right? So again, I'm going to have to go in, and here's my page. Do you remember what to do on pages? How I make them work in a Mastery Path? Put it in chat or unmute and tell me. Edit. At the bottom of the page, allow and Mastery Paths. Yep, there you go. You got them. And then I hit save. Good job. That's exactly it. And then my assignments, who do I assign to? And there was just a question about it. Yeah, you can add it to both paths, sure. You would assign it the Mastery Pass, right? So I'm going to come in here and assign the assignment to Mastery Pass. And there we go. All right. And I would come through and I would plan path 3 the same way. All right. So again, I am planning out my pathways inside of my module. right? So this is essential before I do anything else, all right? So I'm going to give you some time to come in. I'm going to finish my path 3 while you're working. What I want you to do is you're going to come in and you are going to plan your module, all right, with your paths. You can just do 2 pathways if you want, that's fine. Remember, if you're using a page, you have to allow in Mastery Path if it is an assignment or a discussion that you are assigning to Mastery Paths. So you can use something more than once, all right, if you wanted to. So I'm going to give you some major work time, all right? I'm going to launch this, and then we're going to move on and see how you build the conditional rules. How does this get released, okay, to your students based on their score, all right? So go ahead and work on that. I'm going to launch a poll. Again, it's not to rush you, all right? And your paths can be very, very simple, all right? They don't have to be complicated. You can just have a couple of items in there, maybe a page and an assignment, page and a discussion, however you want to, all right, to do that. All right. Now, after we have it all built out, it'll look something like this. Okay. I will have my source assignment at the top. Then I will have my path 1 content, my path 2 content, and my path 3 content. All right. So I do have to plan these pathways based on what I want them to do, student choice and however their performance is on this quiz. All right. Now, after I've got all this done, all right, I'm going to show you something really cool. We're not going to do it yet, but this is what it'll look like to your student if you've done it correctly. When you come into student view, they won't see your module. All they see is the quiz. Okay? So if you have assigned everything to Mastery Path and then this quiz to everyone, it is then set up. This is your view of it, not the student's view of it. All right? So I always stop right here and show you why we did what we just did. All right? Now that I have the Mastery Path built out in my module, and again, it's got to be in a module, one module, I can now come back to my quiz and plan the way I want it released. Okay? So this was the hard work right here. After I'm done with it, we're good. All right? Now, any questions so far? Now, if you go into student view and you're seeing assignments, something's not assigned to Mastery Paths. Okay? So that's kind of the acid test. Always check your student view before you allow this to go out to students. Now, I'm going to come and go into my quiz. And this is where I get to have fun with it. All right, so I'm going to come up and I'm going to hit edit. Now I'm going to come over and hit Mastery Paths. This is where I set the release, okay? So this is a 10-point quiz. This is where I set my ranges, all right? So what is exceeding expectations? What's, above mastery? To me, not a 70, okay? In my classroom, if they want to play with Legos, sorry to say, they have to be higher than a 70. So I would probably, it just depends, right? I could put in 8.5 if I'm doing some partial credit there, or I might just want to just say 90, okay? 90 to 100 is exceeding. And then come down, do my next range. I'm going to say, okay, what is meeting? And I might put 7.5 or an 8. I'll put a 7 here. And then anything below that needs some remediation. All right. So this is where I am setting what score am I saying path 1, path 2, path 3. All right. Any questions about that? Now, I've got my ranges set. I'm going to add my items, all right? So I'm going to add my source assignments, all right? So I'm going to hit my plus sign. What does my first pathway get? I'm going to hit that plus sign right there, and this is where I get to say it, all right? So I know they get this Lego project, all right? So I'm going to say the precipitation towers, the towers upload, and then there's that project, there's that page. I'm going to check it. And also they got that discussion, all right? So I can check what goes into path 1, and I'm going to add those items. Now, do I want them to do all of this? No. I want to provide student choice, all right? So I can see where this is and, okay? If I don't want them to do all of this, I can choose one of these ands and make it an or. And then I'm providing some choice, all right? I'm going to keep on coming. I'm going to come down to my second path. I'm going to say, all right, what do my on-track kiddos get? I'm going to hit this plus. So I'm going to, let's see, I know they got a page. So they got that presentation. All right, so notice I can switch this over here. If I know that I had a page in there, there's that page I know that they have. And what else did they get? Oh, they got the water cycle and songs and water cycle clouds. That's what it was. So both of those are assignments. So the water cycle song and the water cycle and clouds. That's what I decided. So I'm going to add those items. All right. So maybe I want them to do all of it, or maybe I want some student choice. Okay. So remember, you can click that and make it an or. And then my track on the bottom, I know that, again, I can filter this over here on the right. I'm going to come to pages. They got the presentation also. So notice I can put things twice, presentation, presentation. I'm going to keep on coming. They had explain the water cycle, as I remember. And then I also want them to retake that quiz, that water cycling and cloud practice. All right. So I'm going to add those, and I'm going to have, now it says slippery slope. You know, we don't want to load them up too much down here. Okay. So they just have a presentation they have to look at for reference, this assignment, and then a reassess down here on my remedial path. Now, when I'm done, I'm going to hit save. And you will see the breakdown over here. So I know it's saved because I get the mastery pass breakdown. Nobody's taken it, so I can't see it. But that's what it will look like. All right. So I'm going to give you a chance to go to that quiz that you put in. You're going to go to the configuration page. Now remember, the configuration page is where it says mastery paths. And you are going to set the scoring ranges. And then, whoops, you're going to add those release items. All right. So in other words, the release items go with the score ranges. All right. So I'm going to give you a second to work on that. And again, I'm going to launch a poll. Any questions that you have, please let me know. All right, now, that's it. So now when I come back to my module, I can see my quiz has Mastery Pass over here. It's got that link, so I know that's correct. And then on my modules, I have these little pills, all right, telling me what my score range is, who's going to get this. So I don't have to go back into that quiz, all right, to know what I said. So this is my range for path 1, and this is now multiple when I have something twice, like the water cycle presentation, is in 2 paths. So that's why it says multiple. That's what that means. So I've got, here's my range in the second path, and then I've got a couple of multiples here. And then I have a reassess down here for my path 3. Now, I am going to take this as a student, all right? So I'm going to come in and do student view. And notice what has happened, okay? My water cycle pretest, that's all students see, all right? They don't see the teacher view of things. They see this view, all right? It's kind of Canvas magic. Now, I'm going to come in and I'm actually going to take it as a student. You can do exactly the same thing, and this is actually what I'm about to ask you to do in a second. So I hit student view, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to take the quiz. All right, so I'm going to say take quiz, and I'm going to answer them. All right, so I'm going to come down. And I'll answer a couple wrong. Let's see. Whoops. There we go. All right, so I'm going to come and submit the quiz. So I get to see my feedback. All right, I can see that here's my score. I can see what I've gotten correct and what I have not gotten correct. All right. And these two as well. All right, so 8.5 out of 10 is my grade. All right, so 85. So when I hit next as a student, I don't know if you can see it, I'm going to zoom in. Do you see where it says choose the next mastery path? When I hit next out of this quiz, it's going to put me on a mastery path based on my score. So I'm going to hit next. And then remember that student choice I gave? There it is. All right. So I can either choose the water cycle song, or I can do water in class. All right. So I have this choice. I'm going to come up and hit select. And then I'm going to come back to my module because it's not taking me to next. I don't know why it's not doing that. I'm going to come back to my module. There it is. Okay. So that is how that works. Now, when I encourage you, I'm gonna give you some time to come in as a student, all right, and take that test, all right? And you can always reset student view and do it again to see if it works. So I can come back into the test, hit student view at the top, and reset that student and try it again, all right? So next hands-on activity, go on in to student view and take that quiz and see if your path works. Any questions, please let me know. All right, so hopefully everything worked. If it didn't work, let me know and I can help you. Troubleshoot your mastery path if it did not work. Now, after students have taken this source assignment or quiz up here, I reset my student, but you will be able to see the mastery path breakdown. You'll be able to see who scored on what path, all right? So you'll be able to click and see who scored right there. So kind of nice that you can also see that, all right? So that's what it'll look like in your mastery path breakdown when you click on that there. If I had not reset my student, you would have seen that. So a nice bonus in there as well for that. Yeah, you can see, and you don't even have to, it's pretty much in real time. I'm going to be honest with you. As soon as they take it, I would say 2 or 3 minutes after they take it, you're going to see it right there. And Canvas, by the way, is full of data. And not just here, but all kinds of other places. I love data in Canvas. All right, so we talked about, that's it. That's Mastery Paths. By the way, as far as anything else to do, we're done. Okay, so honestly, the hardest part of it, and it's, just setting up your module, just getting the content organized. That's the hard part. It's completely doable. Melissa, the challenge is having enough content and just organization, right? So, if you're used to building in a module, super doable. Yeah, for sure. And just remembering to the two things, your test goes to everybody. Everything else goes to Mastery Paths. So that's if you're going to take something away, that's takeaway number 1. Takeaway number 2, it has to be one module. Here, let me try to help you. Modules are your lesson plan. If you want, I'm going to have some time in a minute. If you want me to show you some examples of just not Mastery Path modules, but just regular course modules, you just have to tell me your level, elementary or secondary. I'm happy to do that. All right. I lost my train of thought. Okay, so vocabulary. The conditional assignment, that's the test. Your configuration page and conditional rules, configuration page, that's where you, in the quiz, that's where you configure who gets what, all right? The conditional rules, that's the ranges. What's the rule? How is this going to be released for what score? And then the conditional release items are the actual items inside your module, all right? So don't let this vocabulary trip you up on that. Any questions? And it doesn't have to be about Mastery Paths if it doesn't need to be. So if you've always been wondering something, now's the time. Ms. Law, did you want to see an example of any type of module? You had mentioned those.
No, I understand them. I get them. I just usually don't use them because my brains are all like, I'll put pictures and a chart on there. So I just usually don't use them.
I got it. I completely understand. On your Melissa, yes, there is. Let me grab that. It's actually right here. Well, hang on. Let me grab this agenda. It's right here. So Mastery Pass, this link down here on the agenda, this is the resource document. And I wouldn't say it goes step by step. Oh, really? There we go. Here's the instructor guides right here. How do I add conditional content, conditional assignment? So that's on your agenda. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. I don't think you're using outcomes. Let me come in. In fact, I am 99.9% sure you're not using outcomes. Let me look really quickly. Whoops. Oh, yeah, you do have the outcomes. You have some outcomes. Oh no, you might have a lot of outcomes. Yeah. Is there anything in here is the question. Oh yeah, y'all are set. That's nice. Okay, so Mastery Paths do not work with outcomes. And you understand why, because of the previous question about does this sync with Gradebook? Well, no, unless you duplicate it. So it's not compatible with outcomes. If you like were to put a rubric with outcomes attached to that rubric, it would not be compatible. If you started blueprinting courses, Mastery Paths don't blueprint. Student scoring, we talked about this. It does not sync. The way to do that is duplicate those assignments and then manually input the scores.